If you're considering moving to Howard County, Maryland, but you aren't sure where exactly to live in the county, then this video is for you. I'm going to cover the different areas and towns in Howard County and what you should know about them so you can determine exactly where to move and you don't make a mistake and wish you moved somewhere just 5 or 10 minutes away. So let's just dive right into it. Hey everyone, my name is Eddie and I'm a realtor here in Maryland. And if this is your first time visiting the channel, thank you for being here. I've made it my mission to help people just like you determine the best places to move all across Maryland. I go over the market updates, the top neighborhoods, the top towns, videos just like this so you don't make a mistake when moving to Maryland. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And before we go into the different areas of Howard County, let's just go over some quick facts. It's located in what's known as Central Maryland, right in between Baltimore and Washington, D.C. It has a population of just over 330,000 residents and is the #1 county to live in the country, according to niche.com. It's also ranked #1 in Maryland for families, #1 in Maryland for schools, #1 in Maryland for buying a house, and is the second healthiest county in Maryland, and is the third best county in Maryland for young professionals. And I'm willing to bet one of those reasons is why you're watching this video today, but knowing that you want to live in Howard County only gets you so far. There are so many different areas to live with so many different things to offer, and if you haven't been to Howard County before, you might not know where to start. So that's what this video is for. Living in a place like Columbia is going to be a totally different experience than a place like Western Howard County. So let's kick it off with the first city I want to go over in Howard County, which is Ellicott City. And Ellicott City is known for its historic downtown, but there's so much more that Ellicott City has to offer. It has dense suburban neighborhoods and rural properties with farms nearby. So depending on what you need out of Ellicott City, it has a little bit of something for everyone. It's kind of like the Swiss Army knife of Howard County. And other than Columbia, it's probably the most popular place to move to in the county. And you might like Ellicott City if you really need to be close to major commuter routes like I-70, Route 29, and Route 40. And you might like it if you want to be near the busyness of everything, where the shopping is, the dining is, all the major commercial centers in Ellicott City. They're right on Route 40, so if you want to be near all of that, Ellicott City might be the right place for you. There are so many neighborhoods that are just a few minutes drive from pretty much everything you could need as far as shopping and dining goes. And one really cool thing about Ellicott City is that it just became home just a couple years ago to a Koreatown, which is one of the few in the nation. So as far as culture goes, you're going to have a little mix of everything here in Ellicott City. Ellicott City is also where a lot of the county's highest rated schools are. But because it's so big, it has various school districts within it. So you always have to check where you're searching versus what school district you're actually going to be going to, or your kid's actually going to be going to. But if you don't want to be near all the busyness in Ellicott City, which is near downtown, near Route 40, where all the commercial, retail, dining, all that is, you can just go to the west side of Ellicott City, which is where all the rural properties are, wooded properties, farmland. You have all of those options here in Ellicott City. And I've made a video dedicated just to Ellicott City itself because there is so much more to talk about, and it's obviously such a large area. So after you're done watching this video, go into the description below and click on that link to watch the full guide to Ellicott City. But what about nearby Columbia, a place you've probably heard of and houses 1/3 of all of Howard County's residents? What is it all about? Columbia is a master plan community that started well over 60 years ago. Everything about this area is intentional. Unlike Ellicott City, which has dozens and dozens of neighborhoods, individual HOAs that have nothing to do with each other, Columbia is under the blanket of the Columbia Association. The entire area is. It's a massive HOA with 10 villages inside of it, and each one has their own unique style. So Columbia is basically one big neighborhood that's also a city. And even though it's full of dense suburbs, Columbia is really interesting because a lot of the housing developments, the commercial centers, even the gas stations are hidden. And by hidden, I mean they're actually lower than street level a lot of the times. They're covered by trees. It's a big forested area, and this is intentional. The developer wanted it to feel like you're in the middle of the forest, and you really don't realize you're coming up onto a shopping center until you're right up on it. And one of the biggest draws to Columbia is the amenities, how much it has to offer here. I mean, not only does it have the Columbia Association, which has the pools, the gyms, all of the walking trails that they maintain, the parks and the playgrounds, but you also have the most shopping, dining, commercial, retail space in all of Howard County concentrated in Columbia itself. No matter where you live in Howard County, no matter which city, which town you pick, you're most likely going to be going into Columbia at least once a week. When I lived in Howard County, I was always in Columbia. Whether it's going to a grocery store, to a doctor's appointment, to Home Depot, you're going to need to go there. You also have the Columbia Mall. You also have the Columbia Town Center and Meriwether Post Pavilion, where all of the biggest concerts are in Maryland. So, as you can imagine, a ton to do here. But at the same time, Columbia is very busy because of that. It is so densely populated, so much to do here that, yes, even though you go around and the housing developments don't look like they're on top of each other because of how it's designed, the roadways are pretty packed in Columbia. So, if you don't like the busyness that Columbia has, then it's probably not the right place for you. And if you're looking for a less congested area with all of the same things that a place like Columbia has to offer, you're in luck because one of the 10 villages under the Columbia Association isn't in Columbia at all. Just to the west of Columbia, you have the town of Clarksville, Maryland. And one of the villages that's part of the Columbia Association is actually in the town of Clarksville. It's the biggest neighborhood in all of Clarksville, but you have all of the same amenities, same access to the pools, the gyms, everything that you have in Columbia, but it feels like you're in a totally different area because you are. And the River Hill neighborhood is an extremely popular place for people to move to, and that's because it's right next to River Hill High School, which is the second highest ranked high school in the entire state and the number one high school in Howard County for their STEM program. So many people are moving here just to get their kids into the high school. But you don't have to live in the River Hill community itself to be districted to River Hill High School. You can live in the greater Clarksville area and still be districted to River Hill High School. So this area, or the surrounding areas, are much more rural. You have much less densely populated neighborhoods, usually neighborhoods of 40 or 50 houses at most. So no major developments in the rest of Clarksville. So if you're looking for something with a little more space, a little more land, you're definitely going to find that in greater Clarksville. And Clarksville is kind of the gateway into western Howard County. It's where all of the rural land starts in the county. And for the sake of this video, I'm going to consider western Howard County as everything to the west of Route 32. Even though there's some towns in there that kind of don't fit, the majority of them do. Western Howard County includes places like Dayton, West Friendship, Glenelg, Glenwood, Lisbon, Woodbine, Highland, and for the sake of this video, I'm adding Fulton and Laurel in there as well. And one of the most important things you should know about western Howard County is that it's in extremely high demand. And it kind of is a weird situation where the more rural you get, the more expensive it gets. And you don't see that in a lot of areas. Usually, the farther you get away from a city or more out into the country, the less expensive properties get. But it is not that way in western Howard County. Houses here go for well over $1 million. If you're going to find a house in western Howard County for under $1 million on land, it's most likely going to need a ton of work. But that's why people move here. They want more land. They want space to build a pool. Maybe they want a really large house, like 6,000 to 8,000, maybe even a 10,000 square foot house. You can do that in western Howard County, where on the rest of the county or in the rest of the county, you don't really have the space to do that. You also have space for things like having an equestrian estate. You can have horses on your property out there. You can have cows. You can own a farm. That's a lot of the reason people move out there. But my clients who are moving to western Howard County and are searching western Howard County are looking for more of the house and a private piece of property rather than being close to everything like grocery stores, shopping centers, and all of that. They are focused on an amazing home, and that is the primary part of their home search versus being next to Wegmans or Home Depot or something like that. It's a complete contrast to a place like Columbia, where everything is right in front of you. But the reason people move here also is because school districts are not going to change too often here. And that's because the district maps are so large for western Howard County due to the lower population that you're less likely to have your kids going to new schools every year when they redistrict. Where in Columbia and Ellicott City, because there's so many schools districted in such a small area due to the high population, it's highly likely if you live anywhere near those boundary lines that your kids could be redistricted. And I want to wrap up this video with a town that's not talked about a lot, but it's actually very popular, and that's the town of Fulton, Maryland. And this is very popular because of its location. It is pretty much equidistant between Baltimore and Washington, D.C., so it is the ideal commuter location. If you have someone who needs to go to D.C. or Baltimore, or one person who has to go to both in the household, this is the place to live. And the most popular community in Fulton is known as Maple Lawn. This community is a very large planned unit development, and the houses here go for a premium. It is kind of a unicorn in Howard County. You don't get much land here, you get a lot of house, but the location is everything and you're paying for it. It's not uncommon to see houses reach the $2 million range in this development, which you're not going to find a lot of places in Howard County. on these size lots. So it is unique in that way. A lot of it, like I said, has to do with location, and it's also right next to the Johns Hopkins Applied Research Lab. And if you're curious about Fulton, I've made a dedicated video to Fulton as well that you can check out in the link in the description. So as you can see, Howard County has so many different places to live with so much to offer, so many different things to offer across the county. You can go to Western County for more land, a bigger house, maybe something luxury out in the middle of nowhere where you have your own piece of property, maybe an equestrian estate, or you have Columbia and Ellicott City where you have a range of home prices, but you're in the middle of everything. A little busier, but ideal if you want to be close to shopping, dining, your favorite coffee shop. And wherever you decide to move to, that's what I'm here to help with. Whether that's 2 months away or 2 years away, it's never too soon to connect with me one-on-one and get a plan together for your move. The easiest way to do that is to go to the description below or the comments and click on that link to schedule the one-on-one consultation with me. We'll get a plan together for your move and we'll make it go as smoothly as possible. And as always, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe so you stay up to date on all of my videos about moving to Maryland.